your customers? You've got to know who your customers are if you're going to be doing publishing in a digital market. But the great thing is you can find out who your customers are because all of the information is out there on the internet. So just to give you a bit of information, everything I'm going to be talking about has got very much an audio bent. 52% of your market will be male and the other half will be female. This is one of our leading authors, Mr. Charkin. You need to be proactive. Do research, find out where the niches that you want to publish are likely to be, and then I would recommend you commission content direct from experts in the industry, and also in your chosen field that you want to publish in. You need to collaborate with your authors. In that case, you'll need to be much more hands-on editorially and whip them into shape, as you can see from this slide. You also need to make sure that you work very much with them on the content. Short content works well. Sorry, boys. Slight joke there. Nobody laughed. Okay. Not all digital content has to be a standard book length. Books evolve to the length they are at the moment largely because the printers wanted them to, not because the publishers did. So just bear that in mind. Short content works as well. This is really hard. You've got to have world rights. But no point in publishing in the digital market if you don't have world rights. End of story. So then you need to, come on, new slide, come on, move. Okay, I'm going to go into it. Okay, then you've got to think about where the content's going to be used. This is really important. It can lead to great ideas about what you can be publishing if you're thinking about where your customers are using your content, not just why and how. You also need to consider what kind of device they're going to be on, and the slide needs to move, it's not moving quick enough. Okay, and how people are going to use your content is very critical as well. Obviously, mobile phones are the absolute obvious place for this. Mobile phones are designed so we can speak and listen, so audiobooks work incredibly well on a mobile system. You need to have consistent publishing. A critical mass is crucial. If you're going to sustain your business, you've got to have new contents coming constantly, absolutely, bang on the dot every month. So that's absolutely vital. The lovely thing is, there is no physical stock, no manufacturing costs, hooray. CDs, they're an oil-based product, and so you're also helping the environment. Slightly up for debate, but there you go. The fact is, at the end of the day, you save shed loads of money because a CD is actually 4 times more expensive to produce than your average paperback book. You have no warehousing costs. This also cuts your overheads, double hooray. Because you've got no stock gathering dust, sitting waiting to be shipped to and then from your customers, this will, is another good reason to be publishing in the digital area. You've got no distribution costs, so even more cost savings. Great, we're not using up oil delivering books to and from the shops. The biggest bugbear for publishers is that they, spend a fortune getting books to and from their retailers, only to have them sent back, and then, they've got to deal with the returns. Obviously, a problem if you're publishing in the audio market is the fact that CDs are incredibly expensive to produce, and they're very hard to get pulped. How do you pulp a CD? So the moral of the story is there's no more landfill of CDs clogging up the planet. And having cost you a fortune to produce them in the first place. The business model needs reviewing. At the moment, it is not sustainable. I can tell you that from my hand on heart. I know for a fact. We've got to look into this. We've got to work together, the retailers and the publishers, because at the moment, the share of the pie is just not big. It's not good enough. I'm sorry to say, I'm going to be very blunt. That's actually a cake, not an iPod, an iPhone. The design of your jackets, you need to think about this really, really carefully. You need to design your jackets specifically for the online market. It's not good enough to shrink down jackets that you've produced for the standard sort of format books and hope that they'll work. You just have got to do it. You've got to think about getting them down to a postage stamp size. You need to ensure your metadata it's deathly boring, but you've got to make sure it's accurate because it's vital. It's the one thing that sells your content to the customers. It's how they find you on the internet, and it's the equivalent really of your sales team talking up your books to your retailers. Discoverability is a huge problem. You've got to make sure that you kind of you've got your content out there, you want it to be found. So use the keywords that people use on search engines to find your books. Make sure they're in your copy blurbs. Get help on SEO techniques, it's vital. Oh my God, I'm exhausted. Use social media. It's free. It's free. It's free. I won't say that often enough. Spread the word. It's easy access to a potential global customer. Use it. Absolutely use it. Diversify in your retail sector. Don't just think about selling via traditional book retail sectors. Think about if you can do, we do these preloaded MP3 players for our titles. We do on-demand CD production, which it means we don't have to stock anything. They're just printed to order for the customer in stores. And we also sell a lot of our content into the airline industry, to the in-flight entertainment system. So that's another place where you could be selling. And then last of all, I think you need to keep abreast of all the technological developments. You've got to keep an eye on what's going on all the forums and use the internet to give you updates and information. Set up a Google alert for the area you want to publish in. And then last of all, I think you need to collaborate. We're about to launch a new series of ebooks in collaboration with a crime fiction publisher called Creme de la Crime, which came about because we knew how to do ebooks. They had the content, so think about that. That's another place where you can make money from publishing. And I'm exhausted. Thank you.
So Sarah introduced me as a maverick and then forgot to tell you why. So you're probably feeling a little bit nervous right now. I promise you the only thing I'm going to do is break all the Pecha Kucha rules, because this is the only slide I have. So that's the only thing I promise. There's no Sarah Palin stunt, nothing, okay? So by the end of today, we'll have heard about tons and tons of different innovative ideas in our industry. And there's no question that keeping up with all this is a full-time job, even if it's not your full-time job. No one has all the answers, or a crystal ball for that matter. But one thing that we can recognize and should recognize, a valuable asset that we do have, and that's access to the wider publishing community. One thing that I think we all need to do a little bit more of is ask the questions, share the answers, share information, be more open to admitting what we don't know, and then finding out the answer from those who do. I loved what Alison Norrington did this morning when she actually went through in a very open and transparent way, this worked, this didn't work, sharing that information with us all, everything she'd learned through all the experimentation she did, including when she asked for help from the blogging community. And they responded in spades to such a genuine, honest plea for advice. So Susan Danziger, who I'm actually standing in for today, recognized this too and used social networking tools to enable publishing professionals to share information and ideas about the future. What I love about Publishing Point, and I'm a member, is that it's open to all publishing professionals, irrespective of what your role is in the industry. So whether you're an agent, like me, a publisher, a marketer, a blogger, however you're coming to this, everyone's welcome. Between their Meetup site and their Ning site, there are now more than 1,000 members from in and around our industry. The live Meetup events do happen in New York, but by joining the online community, wherever you are, wherever you live, you can access the video, the presentations, the webinars, as well as engaging with other members and sharing ideas. So speakers at the monthly events always address the hottest topics, whatever is the issue of the moment, and innovations too. So basically, they're showing up every month to share with you what they know, help you know and understand better the opportunities that this digital space brings, because I agree with Stephanie, it is a huge opportunity for us all. So recent speakers have included Macmillan CEO John Sargent, who he invited members to submit questions before the event. And then, he spent the full time answering them very candidly. And that was all in the wake of the Amazon-Apple controversy, so that was kind of cool. Jack Dorsey, co-founder of Twitter, David Karp, the founder of Tumblr, and best-selling author Seth Godin have all spoken at the Publishing Point very recently. Susan has just announced that the next speaker will be Fred Wilson, who is, if you don't know who he is, he's one of the most influential venture capitalists in New York. And he's invested in Twitter, Foursquare, Tumblr, Meetup, Etsy, the list goes on. So he was named #1 on the Business Insider's Silicon Alley 100 list, and any entrepreneur who's trying to get into this space would absolutely know him and his blog. And as I say, he will be the next speaker at the Publishing Point. There are also practical sessions. So, for example, there was a whole big webinar on SEO and SEM. And if you don't know what that stands for, ask me afterwards. And those presentations were made accessible afterwards online. So whether you're able to attend the session or not, if you have a conflict, there's very often either a video or some kind of presentation for you to access later. And you can certainly see what all the members are saying about the event. So there's definitely a way to pick up what people are saying. So however fast we're moving, and I hope I'm moving fast enough, you know, the digital space does give us a lot of opportunity, and we really need to ask more questions, not be afraid to admit what we don't know, and embrace the new opportunities that the digital space presents. The Publishing Point is a new model. It's an innovative way to connect with the rest of the publishing community. And in Susan's words, she always says it's where publishing meets the future. So you can sign up, and here's my slide, at publishingpoint.com. Thank you.